years ago, I met a car designer from Ford's, and he revealed to me that the mark of a good design is that when you see the car for real, you're overcome with an urge to pick it up and play with it. And in my mind, no car comes closer to matching that criteria better than the Lotus Elise. Just look at it. There's not an angle, a line, a shape or curve that's wrong anywhere. And at just 900 kilograms, you could almost pick it up and play with it. To put that into perspective, my Ford Focus ST here, which is no slouch, weighs in at a distinctly tubby 1,600 kilograms. So how did Lotus achieve this? Well, an aluminium or aluminum for our US cousins chassis and fiberglass body helps. But it's also about the stuff that Lotus didn't fit into the car. Here's a quick list of all the things you'll not find on a Lotus Elise. It's just pure car that maintains the Lotus ethos of lightweight performance set in stone by Colin Chapman back in the late 40s. Fast forward to the mid-90s and we find the UK in a wave of optimistic buoyancy. Britpop was conquering the world. Bond was back on the screens after 6 years. Damon Hill was on his way to winning the Formula One World Drivers' Championship. And in 1995, the Lotus Elise was launched. It was originally going to be called the Type 111, but Lotus was owned at the time by Bugatti, and their chairman, Romano Artioli, had a better idea. Inspired by his granddaughter Elisa, he proposed the name Elise. This is Elisa today. The Series 2 Elise was launched in 2000 with financial help from General Motors, in return for which Lotus provided them the VX220, essentially a rebodied Elise. This is a 2007 Series 2. It's also my 2007 Series 2. So the first question is, what's it like?
Well, it's a lightweight, mid-engine British sports car made by the company that invented the lightweight, mid-engine British sports car. So what do you think it's going to be like? It's fantastic! The first thing you notice when you drive an Elise for the first time is just how involved you are with everything and how much of everything you can feel through the steering, through your backside, everything. There's just something visceral about it. Oh, I can't talk through. I can't talk through. Oh, lovely. It just holds the road. Look at that. Oh, wow. You do feel very manly doing that. And I'm not breaking the law. I'm driving within the speed limit on my side of the road. It just makes you feel like Lewis Hamilton. Oh, but with better fashion sense. Oh, look at that. Just perfect. They should have called it the Limpet.
So what are the practicalities of buying and owning an Elise? For example, can you use it as your daily driver?
Well, it's a car. So if you need a car to drive around in every day, then yes, you can drive it every day. It's not too bad on the fuel consumption if you drive it carefully. It's not that expensive to insure. It's reasonably comfortable. That was another Elise. It's reasonably comfortable. I'm going to start that again. I've got some creature comforts in here. I've got a radio with Bluetooth connectivity. I've got air conditioning. The heater's not too bad, and it's surprisingly comfortable. I mean, it's not S-Class comfortable, don't get me wrong, but for a lightweight little sports car, it's surprisingly okay. It fits in a standard European size single garage without a problem. And It's got a boot right by the engine. That means that by the time you get your shopping home from the supermarket, your dinner's already cooked. So yes, absolutely you can use this every day, but there are a few issues you need to be aware of before you make that decision. Let's start with the roof.
If you're a fan of camping, then you'll have no problems at all, but it is a bit of a faff. But once it's on, it does provide decent enough protection from the elements, providing the forecast for that day didn't include the word torrential. And you may also want to invest in some yoga classes, because getting in and out does require a certain flexibility.
And because there's no carpet or interior trim in here to speak of, you hear everything that's going on, and I do mean everything. It's said that when you own and drive an Elise, you get to discover a new noise every day. Only this morning I've discovered that a rather worrying rattle was in fact a wayward M&M. And if you're a bloke in your 40s and 50s and you're thinking maybe a Lotus Elise might scratch that midlife crisis itch and convince members of the opposite sex that you've still got some lead in your pencil, forget it. The only attention you're going to get from people driving this car is from blokes and boys. Most women are going to think you're a bit of a...
So what about the money? If you're on a budget, handy with a toolkit and feeling adventurous, then you can pick up a salvage example like this for £11,000. Assuming you do the work yourself, you could probably get this back on the road, spending about £4,000 on parts. Or you could just spend the £15,000 on something like this, a nice 2001 Series 2 with 80,000 miles on the clock. Oddly, if you wanted the older Series 1 Elise, good ones will cost you more than the early Series 2 examples. Expect to pay anywhere between £20,000 and £30,000. And at the other end of the scale, £45,000 to £50,000 will put you in a late model Series 3. Depreciation on Elises has always been good, but now second-hand values are actually beginning to creep up. The first Elise I looked at buying was in February 2021. It was up for just under £16,000. I didn't buy that one because I didn't really like the colour. Anyway, shortly after I looked at it, the dealer took it off the market, kept it in storage, and 6 months later came back on the market at £18,000.
Where else are you going to get 12% return on your money these days? Insurance costs can be variable. I'm 54 years old, and ladies, I know what you're thinking, but yes, that can possibly be true. I live in southeast rural England. I've got full no claims bonus. I pay £190 a year fully comprehensive. Somebody who's 25 and lives in South London, they can expect to pay around £2,000 a year for the same cover.
But here's the thing. You don't buy an Elise because it makes sound financial sense, even though it sort of does. And while yes, you can use it as your daily driver, it's not what it was designed for. It's for waking up on a beautiful morning and saying, I think I'll take the Elise out for a spin. It exists for nothing other than the pure pleasure of driving.